early on in this journey of the Sanilac Rescue Mission, for me in my heart, was that how am I going to say this to people, and the importance of this when you see what a police officer sees on a daily basis, when you see homelessness and violence and just the messiness and the nastiness of human nature, but yet you're a follower of Jesus Christ and you know God's nature. So early on, I made a promise to God that when I introduced myself as a Sandusky police chief, that I would also say that I'm a follower of Jesus Christ.
Somebody come in lost and broken, and then have them leave with their heart completely changed and then be a different person, like that is the successfulness of that, of what you walk through and the relationship that's built. That's what like impacts my heart. It's not necessarily, there's so many moments that are meaningful and incredible, you know, that God has done for people, specific things in their lives, to build their faith and to help them to believe. But seeing that heart change in someone, seeing them come in and be, have lived for so long contrary to ways that will make them successful, right? And then learn new habits and develop new character.
Those moments of saying yes, and the Sanilac Rescue Mission is just that. It's moments of saying, okay, God, not just for myself, but for everyone involved. It's okay, God, I'm going to do what you say that you want me to do. I'm going to step out. I don't know what is next, but I'm going to do it because you say to do it. And you go before me, and you stand behind me, and you are with me.
How do we know that we've been successful in helping somebody, I guess, be rehabilitated from the trauma of being homeless? Like, how do you measure that you've been successful? And one of the things that's incredible to me is to see a guy who comes in who's homeless and is broken and doesn't think life is worth living anymore, right? And see him stay there for a period of time and attend the Bible studies and more importantly, build relationship with the staff that we have there. And then have him go through the process of moving out and getting into his own apartment, and then seeing him minister back to new guys that are coming in, right? That's when you know you've really made an impact, that because they're now the ones who are doing the ministering to the new broken people who are coming in. And that gets your heart. So we had someone at the mission at one point who was very sick and had at one point just lost his will to live because he had been battling his illness for so long. And he had a DNR, do not resuscitate, as a part of his life. And that's the way he lived his life, was that he did not want to be resuscitated if something had happened because he was just so tired. And this man, over a period of time, had a heart change, right? And he came to a men's ministry weekend where he gave his life to Christ. And shortly after that weekend, he got sick again and ended up in the hospital and was on life support for a period of time. And he ended up going to a rehab center afterwards. And I took him to the rehab center and I dropped him off and I got him comfortable, and then I left, but I went outside the hallway as the nurses were administering to him, getting him situated, and I listened, overheard him, you know, talking to the nurses, and they asked him, so what do you want us to do if something happens to you and you need to be resuscitated? Do you want us to do CPR? And I could hear, he was just this moment of silence, and he said, yes, I want you to resuscitate, you know, and to me it was just like, wow. Because of the impact of the mission, and more importantly, because of the impact of relationship that we have built with this man, and what God has changed in his heart, he went from wanting to just die to, yes, if something happens to me, I want you to resuscitate me because life is worth living now, because I have a purpose now. And that made such an impact on me. I'll never forget that moment.
And I don't know, as a Christian, if you've ever prayed and really prayed that, God, what do you see? What do you want me to do? What are you asking me to do as I read your word and as I pray? How do you want me to react as a Christian in this world? And my reaction was first of disobedience. I'll be very frank with you. I didn't want to do this because I didn't want to seem weird or tell people that I think God's somehow talking to me or telling me to do something. But you know, isn't that what He does? Isn't that the little whisper and the little nudges? And so this journey for me has been just accepting what I think God wants me to do and using everything that God's given me to do it, no matter what.
Before it was all about them, and it was all about, you know, which is understandable because they're in crisis. They're in this moment where life is all about them at the moment, you know. But when you see that they've turned to focusing on others and helping them, you know that there's a heart change. That is meaningful. And we're not talking like, you know, somebody who has a bad habit with some little thing and changes their habits. We're talking about like, you know, guys who have been incarcerated, lost their kids, addicted to drugs and alcohol. We're talking about those type of turnarounds, those type of life changes.
'Cause I am redeemed. 'Cause I am redeemed.